There we go.
Mhm.
All right. I have a big note here that says record, because I'm notorious for forgetting to record. So I have a note. So we wanted just to start by giving you some information. Aloha's going to give you some information about the course itself and where to find things, and we're hoping that this will be useful to everybody. But what we wanted to let you know for sure is that this course is going through a renovation process. The way we are in the middle of the last week of the last course that Aloha and I taught together. And it's a different course than this one. I mean, we've completely rearranged things and streamlined stuff, and are working on making the course better. And so you may notice some things out of place, or you may find a link that's broken or whatever. We're going to put a discussion forum in that's just for, if you find something, if you find a link that's broken or something that needs to be fixed, if you could just post it there so that as we do our revisions, we can add that in. And what's really nice is we know it's teachers, so everybody wants to make it better. And so that's what's going on. And we're working double time right now. We're teaching, and we're also building and working on changing some things around to make it easier on you. So I want to just put that disclaimer out there. Aloha, did you want to?
Okay, well,
Yeah.
if you guys don't mind, I'm going to share my screen so that I can show you some things with Canvas. Okay, so I'm not going to show you everything about Canvas, but I thought I could point out some of the most important things to be aware of in terms of some features and then the particular aspects of our course that are very important. So the first thing that I wanted to point out that you want to do if you have not done already is to set your notifications for Canvas. And you do that by clicking your account icon and going to notifications. And you should see what your contact information is and make sure that you have the right email address or phone number that you want to be using for your notifications. And make sure to set what things you want to be notified about right away or just at the end of the day. The one critical thing that a lot of people forget to set in their notifications is something called submission comment. And submission comment is great for you to be aware of and also your students. If you're teaching with Canvas already, this is going to send you a notification of anything that we write when we're grading your submissions. And then as an instructor, you get notifications of any questions that your students write back to you in those grading comments. And if you're not getting notifications, you might miss them completely, all of the questions that you might get from your students. So please use those in your notifications. And also, of course, announcements are great to get notified of right away because we're going to be using announcements a lot. And then the other ones, it's kind of funny the way Canvas does it, but if you use the Canvas inbox to send a message, in your notifications, that's called conversations. And so you probably want to be notified of any messages that are sent to your Canvas inbox here. Besides that, I would just choose the other ones as you want. Probably grading would be a good one to be notified of as well. So that's notifications. And then the other thing I'll show you is for our class, the homepage is very important to kind of keep your eye on. So right now, this is what our homepage looks like, but we're going to change this every week. So usually on Sundays, we'll update the homepage and we'll have new information for you here. And one thing that we'll be adding to the homepage is any office hours and tech talks that we have for that week. So any synchronous opportunities you have to connect with us, we'll put them on the homepage so you know exactly when those are. You also will see buttons on the homepage, and this will change each week as well. So right now you see a Start Here button, but next week it'll link you to the next module that you're going to be working on for that week. The other thing to really pay attention to are announcements. We have the most recent announcements automatically displaying at the top of the home page. And Canvas is really funny with announcements as well. So most of us get the announcements in our email, but the email version of the announcement is not an exact copy. So two things happen. Often the announcement gets clipped, so it's not the display any embedded media in the email notification. So if there's an embedded image, and often if there's an embedded video, it won't display in your email. And so that's something to be really aware of when you're doing announcements for your classes, that if you have an embedded video, your student might not even know that it's there if they're just reading their emails. So we always recommend physically, going into the class and clicking on the announcements. And let's look at the one that was just most recently sent. So there were some images embedded in this announcement. And I don't know if you guys got the email notification, you probably didn't see these. They're just fun, but you might have something more important embedded that could get missed. So check out the actual announcements as much as you can. Then on the modules page, this is, as you know, the main content for the course. And the one thing that I wanted to point out for those of you who maybe haven't used Canvas that much yet is that the modules are really designed to be completed in chronological order. So obviously you start with Unit 0 and work your way through, but please do, once you're clicked into a module, you definitely want to be using that next navigation in Canvas to what we call next your way through the module. And just keep clicking next until you get through everything. And that's how we've designed the course. You will get to some pages where there are tabs, which I'm sure you've seen. And before you click next, you do have to click on each tab to view the content. One other thing we have on the modules page is we are using something called requirements, which is a feature in Canvas that puts a little note next to each item that you're supposed to view it or contribute to it or submit it. And the reason that we use this is because it gives you a nice green check mark once you've done that item in the student view. And so it's easier to keep track of where you left off. So if you just completed the first 4 pages of the module, you should see that with check marks. And definitely let us know if there's anything odd that happens with that on your end. Discussions in our course are all done a specific way. They are done with a Wednesday due date for first post, and then replies not due until Saturday. And Canvas does not allow you to set 2 due dates for the same assessment. So the due date is always going to be Wednesday, but technically you have until Saturday, right, to actually finish the discussion. And we do encourage you to, don't try and post everything all at once, but do your first post and, read some posts and try and check back with the discussion as the week progresses. Okay, the last thing is the help icon in Canvas. And again, for those of you who haven't used Canvas very much, the help guides for Canvas are amazing, and we highly recommend that you use them not only, if you have questions in this class, but also use them in your own teaching to help direct your own students. So if you click the help icon and then do search the Canvas guides, these guides are amazing. You can do a free text search for something you have a question about, or you can go into the guides. There's a video guide if you want to just watch videos. If we click the guides, it will then say, do you want the guides for instructor or for student, right? So these guides are...
Excuse me for a minute. Are you changing the screens?
Right now?
Yeah, that just changed. Okay, I wasn't seeing them change, so I didn't know. It could be my connection, but...
Does everybody else see? I should be showing the guides in Canvas right now.
I see that now. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. It's just slow. Sorry about that.
Okay.
So yeah, so if I wanted to know something about announcements and I searched announcement, for example, you know, how do I reply to an announcement? What are announcements? How do I make an announcement? So very useful. These guides are like step-by-step tutorials with screenshots. And as I said, I use these, if I have a question, I'll use it. And then if my student sends me a question, sometimes I'll just send them back like a link to the Canvas guide that answers their question. That's all I have for the Canvas overview, but I'll throw it back over to Pat, who's going to talk a little bit about the course plan in the assignment, or in the course. And I'll stop sharing for that. Oh, Pat, you're muted still, sorry.
That's the way most people like me to be, so, you know. Anyway, Tess joined us. Hi. We noticed that you joined. We're recording this, so we're going to continue. What I wanted to talk to you a little bit about is you're going to be working on a course plan, and you're going to have a piece of that that gets added every other week. Sometimes you'll have little pieces to put in assignments, but generally it'll be added to every other week. And so you're going to be working in two different places. You're going to be working in your sandbox, which I hope that you've seen that you have a sandbox. When you go to your dashboard, you should see that you have a place to work, put things and learn how to use Canvas and do some of the assignments that we're giving you. So some of your assignments are going to go in the sandbox, and we'll let you know which ones those are. And then other assignments will be posted in the assignments area. And one of the things that we want you to put in the assignments area for a while will be a course plan. And it'll start with, and I'm going to share this. I hope you guys are seeing a Word file. Yeah? Okay. And what you're going to be doing, this is in Unit 2, and the assignment is all there. But we're giving you a template in a Word file. And we're asking you to fill that in, and we're giving you all the information you need to know about what to put in there and how you might think about it and how you would build your course plan. And then the following time that you see the course plan, which will be Unit 4, I don't think you see it again in Unit 3, but you will see it in Unit 4, you'll get another template that's a separate Word file, but you just take that information that you type in, copy it, and then paste it into the bottom right here of this one. And so you'll have one course plan master that you're going to keep copying the pieces into over the course of the 12 weeks. Are there any questions about that? Are you guys okay with that? Okay. That was mainly what I wanted to talk to you about. And I had, Tess, I muted you, so I want to unmute you just to be sure, because there was some echo when you first came in. Did you have any questions?
Oh, no. No,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, great. Can you mute yourself? Are you okay doing that?
Let me see if I can mute myself.
Okay. I can do it, and then I'll just, when I stop and check, I'll unmute you so you can talk. And hi, Amanda. Welcome. Okay, so that course plan project, what's kind of interesting about it when we've done it with people before is they don't look at a couple of things that causes me, I grade those, so then I have to go back in and say, you know, if you could look at the rubric or if you could do this, it would make it better. So I want to tell you this up front. Be sure that you read the rubric for the part of the course plan that you're doing that week, and read it, you know, make sure that you know exactly what's on it so that you're fulfilling the rubric, because that's what we're looking for. And some people don't even look at it. And the rubric there's a little gear at the top of each assignment screen. And it's a little, you know, it's up in the right-hand corner of the screen. And I'm not going to share again to show you, but there's a little gear there with a drop down for the rubric. So if the rubric isn't showing, that's where you go for it. And what you want to be sure of is that you're meeting all of those pieces so that you get all of the points. If you haven't met them all, I will comment there in SpeedGrader, and which is why you should have the notifications for grading set, because then you see those comments And we're really, we're not out to get you here. We're out to help you. Our goal is to get you through the course and learn the material. And so it's not like we would be doing with our own students. We give you a lot of support and a lot of leeway, and our goal is so that you can get through it, just so you know. So we're really trying to be proactive in helping you. And so if you have any questions or anything about the assignment, just let us know. And you can type it right into that comment space in SpeedGrader, and we'll see it and then go in and get right back to you with it. The other thing I want to caution you about is to be sure that you look at the template, because I think that what I've been noticing with people is they don't look at the rubric and then they don't look at the template. And so when they try to do the work, it's really, they're missing things. And then it's really hard to find too on my part. So having the template to use is really helpful for you, and then it's helpful for me too. And as you're working with your own students, if you're asking them to do a research paper, and I notice that some of you are doing that kind of work already, but if you're asking them to do a research paper or whatever, a template is really a good thing to put in, and or even a sample that shows them what the format is. The template that we're using is from a course. I had a CIO come to me and say, I need to teach a class for other CIOs, and I have to teach it online, and I never listened to you. She was my CIO. And so after I quit laughing, I helped her write a course plan, and we're using that for the sample. There is a sample to look at too that'll be really helpful for you. So the template, the rubric, and the sample will all help you. And the sample is for a course for CIOs. So we're using that because it's nobody's discipline. So I wouldn't be stepping on anybody's toes trying to build a course that's in your discipline when I don't teach your discipline. So that's why we're using that. But the sample, the template, and the rubric for all of the assignments that are the course plan will really help you get it done. When you're done with the course plan at the end of the 12 weeks, we're going to ask you to put it in your sandbox, and so that you have it and you have it available for you. The course plan is long. It's got a lot of information in it, but what it does is it gives you an idea of what you have to do, what you're doing that works, what you have to do. It makes you think about accessibility issues and all kinds of stuff. So it's a really good assignment, but it's the major project that lasts throughout the course. So I'll turn it back over to Aloha. Unless there's any questions. Do you guys have any questions? Okay.
Okay, so the next thing to talk about is the reflections assignments that you'll be doing regularly throughout the 12 weeks, and the sandbox, which Pat mentioned already. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. So 1 second. Okay. So let's go back into our OESP course, and let me show you what I mean by reflections. So your first reflection is in Unit 1, 1.5 reflection, and this is something you guys are going to be doing pretty much weekly. And the reason that we have you do these reflections are because OESP is designed around 2 sets of standards, and it can be a little bit confusing. So if you noticed at the top of our course, we have this @ONE Standards for Quality Online Teaching, and then the OEI Online Course Design rubric. And these are the 2 kind of guiding sets of standards that are going to be mentioned every week throughout the entire course. So let's see. I don't know if you can see. Let me open one of them up. Yeah, you should be able to see the preview. So these standards for quality online teaching are really about teaching practices, whereas the OEI course design standards are about course design practices. And so these are 2 different things. So you could be a really good course designer, for example, but maybe not a great online teacher, or vice versa. You could be an amazing online instructor, but not know too much about how to design a course in Canvas, for example. So we kind of have these 2 standards, and we ask you to do the reflections. You're going to be reflecting on the different @1 standards for teaching, because we're not going to be able to see your teaching. So your reflections are what let us know that, how you would address these standards. And then the design standards are going to be addressed in your sandbox. So the course design standards by the OEI are amazing, and I'm sure many of you are already familiar with these, but basically these are, labeled A, B, C, and D, and you're going to be demonstrating your awareness of these in your sandbox. And I will say something about your sandbox, and I think I have a copy of one that I could bring up. So your sandbox looks like this. You guys should all have one already. And what you're going to be doing in the sandbox really quickly is building 2 modules, right? That's it. I just want to stress that throughout the 12 weeks, we are not asking you to build a 16-week course with 16 modules and be done with it by the end of the course. We're just asking you to work on 2 modules. One is your orientation to the course, and the other is 1 unit of content of your choosing. So that's what you're working towards. Does anybody have questions about that? Tess, maybe?
No, thank you.
Okay. Sorry.
No, I just unmuted her.
Okay.
Because I muted her, I feel responsible.
All right. No questions about the sandbox. Then I will throw it back to Pat for one more piece of information to give you.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate, I forgot to mention that it's just those 2 units. You're going to be doing an orientation unit and a content unit, and you get to pick which one. It doesn't have to be the first content unit in your class. And by a content unit, we mean something that actually has substance in your discipline, that's part of your course. And you're going to be dividing the course up into a variety of units and based on some criteria, and then do just those 2. And it's really pretty cool because you can get through doing the 2 and know exactly what you're going to do after and how you're going to get through building a whole class. And we look at this as outcome-based design. And so what we're going to ask you to do is to take a look at what is it that you want students to be able to do, excuse me, by the end of the unit. And then what are the things you're going to have them do? What's the content piece that you're going to have them do first, which might be read or listen to a video lecture, or read, or go do a TED Talk, or go to a website or something like that. And then what are they going to do to show you that they've actually read that, which is the assessment piece. So there's content and assessment, and then projects that you have them do, or papers that they turn in, or whatever. Those are all also assessments. And so you're going to, based on this is what I want them to be able to do by the end of the course. So what you're looking at is, what's the outcome I have, and then how am I going to address that using the technology in Canvas and other things that we can find for you. And there's so much stuff out there. We'll point you to Bloom's digital taxonomy at one point, where you can see that the lower levels are really about providing information. It might be reading or a video lecture, something like that. And did I slow down there for a minute or just stop? Yeah, I saw a little signal come up.
Talking.
Yeah. Anyhow, so, that's what we're going to be doing. But I wanted to, you're going to be curating content. We're going to show you how to look for things all over the place. You'll have fun with that. You'll be creating videos. There's all kinds of stuff you're going to be doing. And usually when we say you're going to create a video, everybody goes, oh no, I don't want to be on camera. But it's much better to be on camera, even if you don't like the way you look. Look at us. I mean, I'm sitting in my living room, and I did put earrings on and some lipstick and stuff today, but sometimes I don't do that. So it's better for me to be there, even if I'm, if I look kind of dumpy, than it is for me not to be there. I think it makes a difference. Thanks. I think it makes a difference, So anyhow, I want to tell you just a little bit about some of the resources that you'll be seeing and point you to those so that you can start looking at those. And I'm going to share my screen again and hope that it's still open. And it's not. Okay, never mind. I will just tell you. The online Education Initiative website is, and you can put it in the chat, Aloha, if you would, ccconlineed.org. Yeah, there's two E's next to each other. We didn't pick it. Okay, so it's ccconlineed.org. And when you go there, it's set up to show you, and maybe Aloha, you could go there if you're, if you can, while I'm talking about it. Do you mind sharing the screen? Okay. The reason I wanted to show it to you is because if you look across the top there, this is set up to be not student-facing, but teacher-facing. So, and for anybody else who wants to see what the initiative is about, but the initiative is now has taken over at One, and so these classes are brought to you through the Online Ed Initiative. But there's so much here that people don't know about. So if you go to, for example, faculty resources and just mouse down, you don't have to go to anything. There's all kinds of stuff there. In professional development, and you can go to that one, you'll see that there's accessibility support. So as we're going through accessibility, if you go there, there's a bunch of resources there for you, and we'll be pointing them out, but you can go look at them before we point them out to you too. And you can see that if you click that, you don't have to do it right now, but the online accessibility resources, it takes you to a website within Canvas that Jamie Johnson created that has everything you ever wanted to know about accessibility in an online course. It's a really valuable resource, and I just want to point it out to you. The other place to go is under technology resources. And if you go down to Canvas, and you'll see there's a bunch of stuff here, but there are a lot of resources there too. So as you go through, I would go to this website and go through it. There's a lot of Canvas resources and a lot of information for you here. How to, you don't need the Adopt stuff, but the Canvas resources for faculty, there's a lot of information there. And not just the guides, but a lot of other stuff that at One has prepared and other people have prepared for you. So I wanted to let you know that stuff was there. And then if you go to the student success resources, these are things that we expect student services to use, but you need to know about them. There's the student success resources, there's tutoring, there's readiness. The readiness modules that you took a look at are located there. And I hope that you got to see that you can link to them or you can download them. It's totally up to you. So if you want to link to the student page for your students, you can do that. You can pick them out one at a time and link to them. It's completely up to you. These are being added to, so there'll be more added over the next few months. So you might want to come back and take a look. There's going to be more study skills stuff added to these. We used to just do tests, self-tests, but these are more tutorials that'll help students if they don't have good time management skills and that sort of thing. So that's here. So if you want to go back up to the top, go back to the student success resources, because I think that's where, let's see, no, let's go over to faculty resources and resources for underprepared students. And I want to point this out because there are resources here as well that have been collected so that you have, if you're having your students do a writing assignment, for example, and you don't have a prereq for your course and you're realizing that your students don't write very well, there are some resources here that you can embed in your course in a just-in-time fashion so they can go right where the assignment is. But people don't know that this exists. There's also equity resources to talk to you about how you deal with diversity in your class and how to make sure that students are supported throughout your course. So I wanted to take you through this a little bit and show you what's here, because I don't think people really know what's here. I mean, once you get there and you start looking through, you see it, but I wanted to alert you that all this was there. Thanks, Aloha, for doing that. I appreciate it. So that was the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. And what else do I have on my list of stuff?
I have a question.
Yeah.
On that, the screen before that Aloha had up, there was, I think, a library link.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to put your textbook on a library that students can access? Because in my on-ground section, I put at least 5 copies in the resource library.
Aloha, do you want to talk about that? You're muted.
Let me make sure that I am understanding the question first. So are you saying to create an online version of your textbook for your online students to access?
Exactly.
Well, let me ask you this. Is the textbook published by you or someone else?
Someone else.
Yeah, so you can see if they have an ebook version of it, but technically probably not. Well, you can't put it online if it's published by somebody else, but you can still require that your students order it and purchase the print version. That's
And
okay.
and some publishers give you the first couple of chapters online so that you can start the course. And that's a really important thing to understand, is that students who are on financial aid, you need to know, when does your school disperse financial aid? It's a question you can ask, because some schools will do it in the first week, some don't do it till 3 weeks in, you don't even know. So I try to tell people who are teaching online, because not only do they not have their financial aid, but then they have to order it and have it sent to them, right? So I try to let people know.
My cat lives by the beach.
Yeah, sorry, I've been having trouble all day. Anyway, I just want you to know that those first 2 weeks can be really rough on students. So trying to do something that doesn't have a textbook, and know when the dispersal at your college is happening for the financial aid is helpful. I read a study recently that shows that 45% of students don't buy textbooks.
I think none of mine do.
It's a horrendous thing, because then they link it to student success. So that's why the OER movement, I think, is really important, and just making sure that you have alternative materials.
Well, I think what I mostly recommend is to get it through Amazon and just rent it, but then it's done per month. So then they wait till the last moment and then just do 1 month and try to read ahead. So I end up posting a lot of the stuff for the summary text, and it's such a battle. I mean, I took a class on reading apprenticeship and asked my students, out of 100 students, how many people like their text, and 0 people like their textbook.
Yeah, they also don't know how to read it.
And heavy, and they don't bring them to class. And it's
worse, I mean, at least you're using it. People have students buy textbooks and then they don't do anything in them.
Oh God.
Yeah, that happens. So both Aloha's a librarian and I was one. So we have pretty strong opinions about what happens and how important it is that there's available resources. So letting students know too, that finding out where your students are from, because you may have all your students maybe from your college, in which case they can access, they can get to your school and access them, hopefully. But if they're somewhere else, you can check with the library wherever that community college is. So if they have a community college close to them, you can check with the library and see what's available and let students know, or they can.
That's a really good idea. So
we have a network now for proctoring that's being set up across the state, where if you want a test proctored, you just have to let the student know where in the network they can go that might be near them, and we're trying to get all the colleges on that network. So if you're taking a class in the Bay Area and you live in Southern California, you can go to LACCD and take the test. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to set up with some steps to, so it's organized, so you know what you have to send as the teacher to that testing area and who to send it to, and then you're working directly with the testing service at that college.
Great.
So, and there's also digital proctoring available too. So that's all being, and I think the digital proctoring and the plagiarism detection is still being paid for by the OEI. So
wow.
Canvas will be paid for ongoing. Which, yeah, my hair was going gray by the minute until they said that was a done deal. So. So that's all I have. And Aloha, I don't know if you have anything else or if any of you have questions.
I don't really have anything else.
Was this helpful?
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay,
Yes,
good.
thank you.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording.